It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this New Year's Eve for 2020. Good riddance to the year, I tell you that. Of course, I've already sent some greetings to my friends in New Zealand and Australia who have already celebrated over there because of the time difference. And good morning, y'all. That's those that are here, Sonny and Tom and everyone else. Good morning. Y'all will notice that I'm a little bit hoarse. So with what I'm planning today, this might put a little strain on the old vocal cords. All right, I'll explain everything later, but some of you might have seen my notification that went out a little while ago. At 2 o'clock this afternoon, I'm going to do a special live stream on my journey with prostate cancer, which was actually week 10. Those of you that have been following that know that I normally do that via video as opposed to live stream. But this afternoon, I'm going to go live with it. That will include my story about both the catheter issue from Tuesday, which is why I had to cancel this show because I ended up at the doctor a lot longer than I thought. And a 7-hour, absolutely disastrous trip to the emergency room. That's all going to be on the live stream this afternoon. Plus, of course, there's a lot of folks that are following me via that vehicle because of my health situation that don't normally follow me on this show. I'm not going to talk about that today here. We do have some things to cover. So please join me this afternoon at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for my journey with prostate cancer, which is week 10. So that being said, somewhere in the vicinity of night before last, I totally lost my voice. It just completely went. So it's getting back. I wasn't sure how it was going to be this morning because I haven't talked to anybody. So if I sound a little squeaky, yeah, I am. It sounds squeaky from this side too. But anyway, I'll keep a Diet Coke handy. Here's the Diet Coke. Keep a Diet Coke handy to sip on as we go through this. All right, my main topic today is on the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine that was, of course, approved over in the UK. Please, folks, I am not saying anything negative about this vaccine. There are some interesting questions that have been raised because of it, and the difference maybe in attitudes toward the vaccine from a United States perspective as it is from a UK perspective. But you guys over there in the UK, Pete and Sue and all my buddies over there, good heavens, I'm not saying anything negative about this at all. I'm tickled pink that you guys have a homegrown vaccine over there, in the UK. Which was developed at the University of Oxford, and that is going to be widely available starting Monday. The Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine has been approved for use in the UK with the first doses going out on Monday. Now, there's an interesting dichotomy of the differences between the way the UK is looking at this and the way so far, which is changing as of this morning, I think, in the States, looking at the vaccine situation. All right, the UK is going to have 530,000 doses available next week. They have priority groups for immunization, are very similar to ours in the US. They have ordered 100 million doses of this vaccine. The priority groups are very similar to ours in that residents 80 and over and healthcare workers get the first shot at it. Of course, in the States, ours is 75 and over, and the emergency healthcare workers as well. For instance, my sister and brother-in-law are in priority group 1B, which means they're right up at the top. They're 10 years and 13 years older than I am. I'm in priority group 1C because I'm a young pup. So, I'm 49 million people down the list before my number is going to come up, even with my health issues, because of the age, 72 as opposed to 75. So, but the UK is very similar in that. Eventually, of course, everybody 50 years and younger with health conditions will be offered the vaccine. It's hoped that about 2 million folks per week will be vaccinated between the two vaccines that are approved for use in the UK, which of course is Pfizer and Oxford AstraZeneca. I don't think Moderna has been approved yet in the UK. Anyway, I know they have Pfizer and now this coming out. So, can't happen at a better time. Obviously, the UK has had just as bleak a time with COVID as we have in the States. The numbers are just astronomically horrible. My thoughts are with all the guys over there with all the problems that have coming, and things are looking terrific with the new vaccine coming out. Now, the main difference, or one of the main differences in the UK way of looking at it and our way of looking at it, I say the US way, they are going to try to get as many people with the first shot as they can, bar none. Not worry about the back end of it, the second half, the second shot, which with this particular vaccine could be anywhere from 14 days to 4 months or something. I mean, there's a lot bigger time frame. They're not going to worry about having enough vaccine for the back end. They want everybody possible vaccinated up front, even though the one shot, the efficacy is not near as high, which we'll get to in a minute. In this country, until early this morning, we've looked at it the other way, that, okay, you've got X number of vaccines available, cut that in half, and that's how many people will vaccinate, so that we've got the reserve for the second half for all of them. So let's say you had 50 million vaccines available, you can vaccine 25 million people, and you hold the 25 million second shots in abeyance, so you're guaranteed to have the back end of it when the time comes. Now, as of this morning, Dr. Fauci is saying, maybe we need to look at this more like they're looking at it in the UK, and let's get everybody with the first shot and worry about the back end of it later. So it's interesting that he's come out in that light literally as we speak today. Now, whether that's going to change policy or not, who knows? Obviously, there are issues in this country with getting the vaccine where it needs to be as quickly as it needs to be there and in the arms of people. So there are issues on that end of it still in this country, which we got to work on. Okay. Now, back to the subject at hand. The Oxford AstraZeneca is cheaper and easier to distribute than either The Pfizer, which of course is extremely difficult because of the coldness, and the Moderna, which is better. But this is even better still, as there are no requirements other than a refrigerator. So now, this brings us to another of the differences between the two countries' ways of looking at it. Back about a month or so ago, when the first numbers came out on the testing of the Oxford AstraZeneca, if you remember correctly, the first dosage showed an efficacy. There was a 62% number. And quickly, Oxford came out and said, okay, that's true on the first shot, but if you go with a half dose followed by a full dose on the second shot, that raises it up to 90%. Now, obviously, that was enough to satisfy the UK approval folks because that's not been tested. That's not been in the trials in that specific manner. So in the US, our CDC would say, no, hold on, we got to hold that up until we get the trial come up specifically with that combination in mind or whatever. A Reuters investigation into the whole thing found that the existence of the low dose, standard dose arm, what they're calling it, was the result of a potency miscalculation by Oxford researchers, casting doubt on the truthfulness of the results of the test. Who knows what the truth of the matter is? Again, if that is the case, and if you do the one dose, you get a half dose, and the next time you get a full dose, or vice versa, and it ends up 90%, who cares? But they need to be able to prove this to everybody, to themselves in the UK as well, their population over there, as well as the population worldwide. I would love to see this, the vaccine, if it's up to 90% with the 2 shots, and that's what the numbers show. Excuse me, sorry about the cough. And that's what the numbers show. Terrific. Then, come on, let's bring a third one into the States. But anyway, you guys over in the UK, you're on your way. Yeah, there's some questions about the numbers because they're not adding up to everything as I see it. So, trials showed that 2 full doses of Pfizer BioNTech, that's the Pfizer vaccine, were 95% effective. Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine showed 62%, although even in cases where people were infected, there were no cases of serious illness. Trials of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine also showed that people were given a half dose, then a full dose, effectiveness at 90%. Now, that's unpublished data. However, if that, in fact, is the way it tests out, then you guys got a winner. Okay? But we got to see that. We got to see those numbers, especially in the U.S. side of things. So there's a little bit of difference in the UK regulatory folks, and Boris and whoever's in charge are looking at this and saying, okay, we believe what Oxford's saying. And in this country, nobody's going to believe anything anybody says anymore. So the one interesting thing that has come out of all of this, which is very important to note, because the media is making such a big clamor over this, the UK variant in the coronavirus, all the vaccines, that the three of them now, Moderna, Pfizer, and Oxford AstraZeneca, are expected to be equally effective against the new variants of the virus that have emerged. I'm getting sick and tired of the media talking about this new variant all the time. It's not that big a deal, people, just because it happened to be discovered the first time in the UK, because they're testing for it. We're not testing for it here. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. I am tickled pink for you guys in the UK. I hope you guys all get that vaccine. And I hope the numbers come out exactly like Oxford says it's going to. So, tickle pink with that. All right, a couple other things to cover today before my voice totally gives out. Ada Cruises is suffering from a possible cyber attack. This could be the third major cyber attack against the cruise industry this past year. Ransomware is a likely cause, and also seems to be has affected the sister line of Costa Cruises. But it has led to Ada canceling Ada Perla's departure on which was supposed to sail on the 26th in the Canary Islands, and Ada Omar departure, which was on the 27th. Both ships had to end their voyages and return to Las Palmas port, where they're both currently docked. This is another setback for Ada Cruises, which was just getting things going when Ada Perla resumed cruises in early December. And Ada Amar had only restarted sailings just before Christmas. So they had to cancel a couple more cruises because of this possible cyber attack, which sucks. But they'll be back sailing starting this weekend. So the other thing that came out of the news the last couple of days, since I was basically out of the loop, was Norwegian announced Tuesday morning that they have canceled 3 more cruises through the end of March. The Encore, the Escape, and the Norwegian Joy. Everything else in the Norwegian line had been canceled to April the 1st, except for those 3 ships. And those 3 ships are now canceled until April the 1st or after. Remember, folks, those dates are subject to change depending on the health issues and so forth and numbers in this country. The numbers for the next month or so are expected to get worse than they are now. So it's going to be bleak looking for another 30 days. So don't count on seeing any cruises anytime soon until things really get turned around. That's my thinking. All right. Now, for some of you that are a little more, not energetic. Anyway, the Ultimate Nude Cruise is coming to the high seas in the winter of 2022. Now, this one, folks, is one you really need to know about, especially Tom Henry and some of you guys need to know about the Ultimate Nude Cruise. This is the folks at Bare Necessities. I've talked about them before a couple times. They've been doing this a long time. Well, in 2022, as a matter of fact, on Sunday, February the 13th, that's the day before Valentine's Day, Sailing from Tampa on the Carnival Pride will be the ultimate bare necessities naked cruise for the year. It's going to have the following ports of call: Colón and Panama, Cartagena and Colombia. It's going to Bonaire, Curacao, San Juan, and Nassau in the Bahamas. Guests will also enjoy a special visit to Amber Cove, which of course is Carnival's cruise port in the Dominican Republic. One of the reasons many of the bare necessities regulars have requested longer cruises is they come from far-flung locations like Australia or Europe, so the extended voyages make the trip more worthwhile. Bare necessities will always charter the entire ship, so there's no chance of you getting on it by mistake, creating a more comfortable environment for all you naked people. Now, to avoid awkward situations for would-be non-nude cruisers, which I would fit into that category, it's important to note that while the group sailings are clothing optional, this isn't a ship full of swingers. In fact, quite the opposite is true. Our mission, their website explains, is to provide relaxing, entertaining, and health-conscious vacations. So, if well, obviously I'm struggling with the voice for now, which I'll probably be struggling later on today. So, anyway, y'all, if you want to swing that way, not swing, I shouldn't say that's a poor choice of words. If you are like-minded to those folks and want to get naked on a cruise ship, by the way, when they go into port, you got the people on the boat have to wear clothes. They don't run around naked like in the ports, because other people might see on the boat and be offended. So there are rules and regulations about that. But when you get out to sea, everybody on the boat can be naked if you want to. Just not me. But who wants to see an old fat guy like me naked? Hell, I don't want to see that. So, all right, let's go check chat real quick. Sonny, Tom, Gretchen, Nikki. Everybody's here. Everybody's chatting back and forth. Hey, Emily's with us from up in New York. And yet tonight I am going to a wild and crazy New Year's Eve party. I'm going to be celebrating it with Charmin and Cottonelle, the two COVID kitties. And I are going to celebrate the New Year's Eve. The cats nor I will be drinking any champagne. Of course, I ain't going to have them because of course, I can't drink my bourbon either, but because of all the silly meds I'm on. Tom, Henry, Emily, we have a yummy bottle of sparkling from Trump Vineyards in Charlottesville. Oh my God, that's dangerous. And Emily says, Tom, Henry, I'll be right over. So let's see, better go with coffee. Sonny says, tea for me tonight. Boring, I know. You know, folks, well, let's do it right tonight. Let's not go nuts and cause problems. And this time next year, hopefully we'll all be back to having our normal celebration for New Year's and everything else. Gretchen says, lobster tails and pomegranate salad with fancy ginger ale. Lobster tails, I'm heading for Ohio, Gretchen. I should be there. Oh, boy, that sounds good. Wow. But I enjoy a lobster tail. Haven't had one of those for a while. Let's see. So I guess everybody's pretty much in the same boat I am. We're all doing it as sensibly as we can tonight. Bonnie's with us. Hey, Bonnie. Glad you're with us today. Just woke up from my morning nap because I was awake before 2 a.m. Well, as you guys will hear in my story, Bonnie's going to pass on the nude cruise as well. Bonnie, that's you and me both. So Gretchen says, I'll need a mask and a blindfold. And Bonnie, as you'll hear this afternoon when you hear the whole story, I went before yesterday when I crashed. I went 48 hours without sleep, and man, did it hit me. But anyway, that story will be this afternoon at 2 o'clock, folks. Make sure you guys join me if you're not out and about yet. Gretchen says, how romantic. They're talking about the nude cruise again. Yuck. I agree. I don't know why I use those stories. Bonnie says, Scott Singer accidentally booked a swingers cruise a few years ago. He got a good price on a cruise to Cuba. Didn't know that most of the ship was chartered by a swingers club. What can I say? It wouldn't make much difference to me one way or the other. But Gretchen says they couldn't pay me enough to go on a nude cruise. I think we probably all agree on that one. Bonnie says, Chilla, you and I can find a fully clothed cruise. Absolutely. And I do get in my bathing suit and get in the hot tub. But that's about as risque as I get anymore. So, all right, guys, I'm going to call out a wrap for today. Please, if you would, join me again on Saturday. And don't forget, y'all, this afternoon at 2 o'clock, I'm going to do this week's journal. My journey with prostate cancer, week 10, is going to be live rather than taped. So please feel free to join in. I'm sure there's going to be some new people that we don't know in the chat room, because there's a lot of people that are following me on that have nothing to do with our travel stuff and cruise stuff. So hopefully we might pick up some new people that come by and see us. If you are new to this channel, consider subscribing. I always appreciate that. The bell notification tells you when I go live or when I post new videos. And again, this afternoon, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be live with my journey with prostate cancer, week number 10. So please, by all means, plan on joining me if you've got nothing else to do. So that's going to wrap me up for today. I will see you guys again on Saturday for travel and cruise industry news. Later, y'all. Stay safe, especially tonight.
Thank you for watching today's Travel and Cruise Industry News. Join us every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern for another episode. Travel and Cruise Industry News is a production of Chili's Cruises.